Thank you, Heavenly Father. Well, if I had a comment now, this is, as I say, nearly 3 years later, but we seem to choose our degree of sexuality. It's not quite like the need to breathe or eat. I'm not sure when you're a young person whether you've got the hormones running at such a level that you really can't choose. You're cornered in a sense. And perhaps that was a necessary thing in some primitive understanding of man, in that it's what drives him out to find a partner and have a family, and if you like, it's the dominant self-interest that has the consequence of the race continuing. We propagate. It's been perhaps necessary in some sort of sense like that. But it is also clear in one's own personal experience that our degree of sexuality depends on our psychological inclination and desire to follow in such. That a person who is very involved in some other goal is less interested in sexual satisfaction. He may put other things first. I notice I'm using the male here because I'm thinking from a male point of view, but I mean, a female too. I mean, she may have sexual drives, but equally both partners in different ways may have family drives. They want a family. It may be deep in our psychology to be a parent, that it's part of the fullness that many of us seem to need as regards becoming fulfilled in our personhood in the lifetime that we're living. That, if you like, in sociological jargon, we take on a role that is fulfilling. We're a dependable mum or dad and so on, as indeed a dependable husband or wife. And strangely enough, in the fulfillment of such goals, you may well reduce your sexual interest in even each other without great hardship. I'm reminded in my mind, what about the large bulk of people who do not find partnership in their life? And what about their sexual needs? Our religious concern hasn't really been with that group of people, perhaps because we've had societies like in the Indian society where partnership is not left to the chance meeting and falling in love, but was also much left to the family sorting out an appropriate partner for the children, whether they had the social abilities to find a partner or not. The parents would make sure they're married, because marriage was such an essential to survival in their societies where state welfare is not there, perhaps. Modern world clearly treats sexual matters differently to societies of old, and to some extent it is because of technological changes and also our view of humanity and rights of the individual and so on, isn't it? I'm reminded that the current 21st century change in attitude to gender issues and so on has possibly taken the pressure off the individual to be overtly concerned with sexual matters, because, you know, if you're a young man, you don't have to particularly look as though you're obsessed with finding girls. Or if you're a young woman, you don't have to pretend that you must become a mother or must find the love of your life. You may want to be, if you like, a very worldly person who's got a career and get out of my way, I'm busy. You know, there's different priorities in the modern world. And it may have actually eased some of the pressure to be overtly dominated as a man or a woman as regards their sexuality. As if it were preordained that we had to be extremely masculine or extremely feminine. Things change, societies change, cultures change, and what is right and wrong changes in that sense. There may be certain things that don't change. We're still fundamentally seeking happiness and fulfillment and creativity, and have a great need for relationships. Perhaps that is changing, that one, with our technology. But I'm not sure as the change is viable long run for the survival of culture and humanity. That humanity is fundamentally relational in a very human, not a very media sense, and we're substituting the media sense for the human, personal relationship sense, epitomized by going through the self-checkout instead of the cash till operator lines in the supermarket. Spending your evenings on the computer or watching the media instead of being out socializing. Our time allocation is dramatically changing, and I wonder the consequence on our humanity. And I'm not the only one, of course. It's a popular concern now, isn't it? Are our kids spending too long on, and they are, we're just sure of it, on their iPad and computers and so on. Are we even sitting in the same room as our family but ignoring each other because we're watching the movie? That we're not really doing it together at all. There are problems, aren't there? We're not quite sure how to handle them either. Let me return to the beginning of this comment for a moment. yeah, I decided to just make this a separate updated recording.